When this poor kid began tinkering with engines, nobody could have imagined that he would one day be behind some of the priciest cars on the planet.
This is the story of Frederick Henry Royce, born in 1863 in Alwalton, England. Henry was the youngest of 5 siblings. His parents, James and Mary, managed a flour mill. James had taken after his father's trade, but lacked the know-how to run a successful business. Earnings were low, and the Royce family lived in financial hardship for many years. Things only worsened, and by 1867, the family had to declare bankruptcy. In search of a better life, they relocated to London. But even at just 4 years old, Henry had already taken his first job, scaring birds from crops on a nearby farm. His weekly pay, 6pence. Then, in 1872, tragedy hit again. Henry's father passed away. That meant all the children, including 9-year-old Henry, had to contribute to support the household. He took on small jobs, selling papers and delivering telegrams. These early years of hardship shaped him deeply. By the time he turned 15, Henry had only attended school for a single year. As a teenager, he began an apprenticeship at the Great Northern Railway Works. With financial help from an aunt and no formal education, he seized every opportunity to teach himself. He studied algebra, French, and electrical engineering during his free time. But after 3 years, he had to give it up due to financial constraints. Following that, Henry found brief work with a tool company in Leeds. Then he moved to London to work with the Electric Light and Power Company. By 1882, he moved again, this time to Liverpool, continuing similar work. Still, his true passion was to fully devote himself to engineering. At 22, he teamed up with fellow engineer Ernest Claremont to start a business. They called it F.H. Royce and Company. Over the next few years, they worked tirelessly, making electrical parts like dynamos and doorbells. The company kept expanding, and by 1894, they were manufacturing electric cranes too. But Henry's growing fascination shifted to motor cars. While Henry Royce is a key figure in the Rolls-Royce story, the brand name reminds us there was another key player. That man was Charles Stuart Rolls, born in 1877 in London's elite Berkeley Square. Charles Rolls was the youngest of his siblings, born to Lord and Lady Lengatic. He had a love for engineering from a young age and studied mechanical engineering at Trinity College, Cambridge. Charles stood out. He was known for constantly working with engines, earning him the nickname Dirty Rolls. He became the first undergraduate to own a car after going to Paris to buy a Peugeot Phaeton at just 18. At that time, owning a car was rare. Many people had never even seen one. After finishing college in 1898, Charles worked on a steam-powered yacht, and later for the London and Northwestern Railway. But his true interests were in cars, innovation, and entrepreneurship. With financial backing from his father, he opened one of Britain's earliest car dealerships in 1903. He named it C.S. Rolls and Company. For the next couple of years, he focused on importing and selling cars from Peugeot and Minerva. Business was strong, and Charles used the income to support his hobbies. Aside from being a motorsport enthusiast and racer, he also took a keen interest in flying. As you might guess, both pursuits were expensive. But sadly for Charles, his love for flying would eventually cost him more than just money. As Royce continued running F.H. Royce and Company, his fascination with cars only grew. In 1901, he bought a second-hand 2-cylinder Decauville, aiming to enhance it. But soon, he had bigger ambitions. He wanted to build a car of his own. Driven by a need for precision and unimpressed with the Decauville's flaws, he promised himself he could do better. By the end of 1903, he had created his first petrol-powered engine. And the following year, he took his first Royce 10-horsepower car on the road. By now, It had been nearly 20 years since he started the company. His first car was well received, encouraging him to build more. Of the 3 cars he completed, one was given to Ernest Claremont, and another sold to a shareholder named Henry Edmunds. It was Edmunds who would go on to arrange the meeting between Rolls and Royce. Edmunds, an investor in Royce's company, was also a friend of Rolls. After driving Royce's car, Edmunds couldn't stop praising it. At the time, Rolls was growing tired of only dealing in imported vehicles, so Edmunds set up an introduction. He had no idea this meeting would change automotive history. Rolls typically preferred 3- and 4-cylinder cars, but Royce's 2-cylinder model left a strong impression. After test driving it, he was immediately convinced. Right then and there, he agreed to sell every car Royce could build. They were an unlikely team. There was a wide gap in age, class, and education. Royce was 41. Rolls was just 26. While Rolls had studied at one of the world's most prestigious universities, Royce had learned everything on his own. Rolls had spent his 20s racing around in stylish cars, while Royce was focused on surviving and working hard. Would they be able to understand each other? As time passed, the daredevil in Charles Rolls became more invested in flying. He tried to convince Henry to design aircraft engines, but Henry refused. To continue flying, Charles purchased a Wright Flyer, logging over 200 flights. In 1910, he became the first man to complete a non-stop round-trip flight over the English Channel. But just a month later, tragedy struck. During a flight show in Bournemouth, Charles died in a crash. He was just 32 years old. He became the first Briton to die in a plane accident, and his early death marked the end of the Rolls-Royce duo. Now, Henry would have to carry on their work alone. Henry's dedication to his craft helped build Rolls-Royce's reputation for excellence and craftsmanship. He held firm to a simple idea: strive for perfection. Improve what already exists. And if it doesn't exist, create it. Strive for perfection in everything you do. Take the best that exists and make it better. When it does not exist, design it. During World War I, the company expanded into making aircraft engines, something Charles had once wanted. Over the next decades, Rolls-Royce flourished, but Henry's health continued to suffer. In 1933, he passed away from complications related to his digestive system. His poor health had been caused by years of malnutrition and non-stop work. In his later years, he was often confined due to illness. Yet, his passion for engineering never left him. He continued working until his last moments. His final sketch was made just hours before he died. He was 70 years old. Rolls-Royce has remained one of the most prestigious names in engineering. Today, owning a Rolls-Royce is a symbol of unmatched luxury. With more than 130 dealerships across 40 countries, the brand's name stretches far beyond Britain. Currently owned by BMW, Rolls-Royce continues to produce some of the world's most elite cars, like the Cullinan, Ghost, Phantom, Wraith, and Dawn. Since 2010, the CEO has been Torsten Müller-Utfus, whose leadership has been key to the brand's modern success. But it all began with the dream of 2 men, Sir Henry Royce and Sir Charles Rolls. Their shared vision transformed Rolls-Royce into a lasting icon of wealth, elegance, and engineering excellence. No doubt, they'd both be proud.